The Harlan Township Board of Trustees, please sign in if you haven't done so. Reminder you're being recorded. We stand for pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Andy, would you read the minutes from the last meeting?
The Board of Trustees of Harlan Township met in regular session this 19th day of June 2024 at regular meeting place of 8276 State Route 132. Trustees Edward Kaczynski, Kevin Kern, and Marcus Shelton present. Meeting called to order by Mr. Shelton at 7 p.m. Mr. Shelton asked all present to stand and say Pledge of Allegiance. Minutes read from regular session June 5th, 2024. Mr. Kern made a motion to accept minutes, seconded by Mr. Kaczynski. Chief Bennett discussed resolution for fire levy. Resolution 061924-1. Mr. Shelton moved to adopt resolution declaring it necessary to levy an additional tax in excess of 10 mil limitation and proceed with submission of the question of the tax to electors, seconded by Mr. Kern. Roll call, Mr. Brzezinski, yes. Mr. Kern, yes. Mr. Shelton, yes. Chief Bennett reported that Brush 81 is out of service due to a leak in the transmission lines. Chief Bennett reported ladder testing and inspection will be held on July 17th. Chief Bennett discussed engine pump testing will be completed on both engines after Brush 81 back in service. Chief Bennett discussed several members of fire department attended Miles Greenwood Fire Monster at Odorous Lake. Chief Bennett thanked Jeff Cordry for taking 9 Lincoln 21 to the event. Chief Bennett thanked Lance, I never say his name right.
Zinnicki.
Thank you. For taking the brush truck and the dive trailer to Hamilton Township Touch a Truck and event and the Fayetteville Firemen's Parade. Mr. Mason reported the boom mower will be picked up on June 20th, 2024. Mr. Mason discussed several complaints received about the new guardrail installed by Warren County Engineer's Office. Mr. Mason reported road department has been grinding and repairing cracks and preparing for the chip seal on township roads. Mr. Mason reported Ross Lever Road will be closed starting June 17th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. for utility work. Mr. Mason asked for ideas for township newsletter. Mr. Mason discussed vacation policy that was adopted this year. After discussion, Mr. Shelton made a motion to amend vacation policy for full-time employees accruing hours per pay period to adding total lump sum of hours for employees' vacation on anniversary date of employment, seconded by Mr. Kern. Old business, Mr. Brzezinski reported grinding the stumps at Evansville Cemetery complete. Mr. Kern is still waiting for the fog seal bids for Morgan's Run. Mr. Shelton reported the roof repair at Butlerville and interior work should start on June 24, 2024. Mr. Shelton reported the cruising will be on June 29th at Butlerville Building, and there were less tractors on display at the tractor show. Discussion to move the date of the tractor show and have more activities during the event. Ms. Williams reminded trustees about the 2025 budget hearing on July 3rd, 2024 at 6:15 p.m. We had no new business. Community comments. Cameo Arnold spoke with trustees about our property located at 8372 State Route 123, requested zoning variance. Ms. Arnold discussed information provided to trustees at the June 5th, 2024 meeting that was not accurate. She has rented part of her property to Andrew's family with the plan that they will purchase in the future. Property currently being used to support disabled and handicapped children with a family-friendly atmosphere. Mr. Shelton stated one person came to the meeting about the variance and the BZA made the ruling. Mrs. Arnold and Mr. Andrews invited trustees to the property to see what they have done. Karen Bennett asked if township plans to let residents know will no longer be mailing a township newsletter to each resident. We'll plan to do postcard mailing to residents letting them know the newsletter will be on the website. Melissa Greaterx suggested printing a couple of copies of newsletters and taking them to the local libraries. Ms. Williams gave written financial reports to trustees. Mr. Brzezinski made a motion to pay bills, seconded by Mr. Kern. Correspondence reviewed. Mr. Shelton made a motion to adjourn, seconded by Mr. Kern. Meeting adjourned at 8:26.
Any corrections?
I have none. I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
That's my pen. That's my pen. Wasn't letting it go. It's my pen. You have one. Nope. I don't like those.
Chief, you ready for your report?
If the fire rescue, the levy resolutions and certificate from the auditor have all been turned into the Board of Elections. They were supposed to call me, but I have not heard back from them yet. Rush 81 is back in service from repairs. The fire department members attended Richard Rose's funeral procession to the cemetery. He was the former assistant chief of Goshen Township, or Goshen Community Fire Department, and also worked for the Harlan Road Department as seasonal. Received 2 sets of drawings from the architect for the renovation of Station 81. We're setting up a meeting to go through the drawings and to make any adjustments before submitting. And the last item I have is working with the first arriving on setting up a weekend video shoot in September. This is where we're going to do a couple sets of training from the fire department, do interviews, and they're going to go around the township, get some video shots. They are also working on the currently working on the website for the fire department. That is all.
Thank you, sir. Steve, you ready for your report?
Yes, just have some basic discussion starters here on the maintenance building. As you guys know, we have the 2 underground fuel tanks that we pay for every year to maintain a license to have those. And every 3 years, we have to do have an outside agency come in and do assessments of those. So just out of curiosity, got some quotes on what it would take to remove those, to try to avoid any issues in the future. About 20 years ago, best I can remember, we had a water leak where water got into tanks. We filled a couple of fire trucks full of water and had to do some repairs on those pretty quick. Some repair work was done at that time, but there are still some steel risers and steel piping that come from those tanks. So Larry got with Growl, who's the company who does part of the inspection of those tanks. And they give us an estimate of $22,000 total cost, their cost, as well as the EPA cost, as they'd have to be there during the removal process. That would be as cheap as it would be, assuming there was no leaks in those tanks. And then from there, if there are leaks, it's an unknown, essentially, amount of money on what it could be for cleanup of those tanks. It's not looking for a decision for tonight, but just something that we want to look into doing to avoid having a leak in the future. It sounds like the numbers thrown around is that if we would have a leak that was a medium-sized leak, we'd be in 6 figures for cleanup of that site.
So these are tanks that are.
They're at the firehouse.
No,
Maintenance building.
Well, the old firehouse, yes. The old maintenance, sorry. The old maintenance.
How big are those tanks?
500.
500 gallons. One of those tanks? How many tanks?
2 tanks. It was gas. It was gas and diesel. Now it's gas and diesel.
So, one gas on
Off-road right now. Then we have the above ground tank, which is a 1,000-gallon tank that has our on-road diesel.
What were the inspections cost and all that yearly? I remember.
The license are 1,000, and then I don't know if you remember what the inspection was, Jenny.
It's 1,100.
What's how much
It's 1,100 every year.
for the licensing?
Yeah, it's $550 for each tank.
I don't know about the inspection. I don't remember.
So you have to tear out and replace with what? Fiberglass?
No, tear out and just fill it up full of sand. Not have underground tanks anymore. Just go to above ground.
Okay.
Just get one more above ground tank and run above ground for everything.
And it said replaced, that's what I was thinking.
That the tower replace is for the floor. That's not for the tanks.
Okay.
So just something to think about there as we move forward. The other discussion is what the long-term plan for the maintenance building is going to be. And this has been talked about before. The floor, which is in the old firehouse, 132 maintenance, whatever you want to call it, it's okay for storage, but for a maintenance building, you can't roll a creeper on it because it's chewed up pretty bad. So crawling underneath trucks and things is not very easy to do. Also has some drainage issues. When the salt truck's back in there, the water runs underneath the wall and runs outside. It doesn't run to the drain. Drains in a high spot and it runs the other direction. So with that, Larry and Jeff worked on getting some pricing for some different options there. Company to come in, put it's not epoxy. It's an epoxy-like on top of it. This would not fix the drainage issue. You're at $18,180 for that. And that's a 5-year guarantee. But again, doesn't fix the water problem inside the building. The one bid that we have is to tear out and replace, basically come in 8 inches, saw cut around the outside because the wall does. So it is a pole barn. It is set on telephone poles. And then there's a wall that came in and set a regular stud wall inside of it. So the plan would be to come in 8 inches from that wall, saw cut it, and then pour up to that area and fix the drainage. The tear out and replacement of that is $46,100, and we only have one bid just to get some ideas of cost. And then if we were to tear it out and just have the pour, floor, and finish by an outside company, we're at $15,300. What we don't know with us doing it is what we're going to get into. The bid to tear it out was $31,000, just shy of $31,000. Part of that, I think, is the unknown of not knowing exactly what's in the floor, how it was reinforced. If it was reinforced, is it regular rebar? Is it random things that they could find to throw into concrete at the time? So with that, with its prices, the question is, how much money do we spend on the building as a whole? The back part of the building was put up in 75, Dusty 76, 75. And it was used. That part of the barn was down on 22 and 3, so it got moved up here, just symbol brought up here. And then the front section was built in the mid 80s with used telephone poles that, talking to Doyle, thought were probably put in the ground somewhere around 1930, 1940 range. So they were in the ground, taken up, put back in the ground again. So the poles are starting to show some rot at ground level. Can't see all of them because the way the walls are put in there. So it's just a question of, do we spend any money, or do we try to look at like a 10-year plan or a longer term plan to build a new maintenance building that has pretty narrow doors, back in the trailer in and out of there. It's pretty sketchy in the middle of the day because the sun is coming around that side. So you get toward 2 or 3 o'clock, you're backing into a black hole. You really can't see much back there. Do we just rearrange things to where they do the maintenance up at the other building? That building, which was initially set up as a shop, has a much better floor. They just get them spread out. Their offices are here. They got some tools up there. They start their day here, end their day here. But it's very doable. It's just a matter of what the trustees feel like the longer term plan needs to be or should be for a new building.
How big is
So the area to tear out was 40. So it was just the front. So basically, we'll call the new section. It was 42 by 50. Just things to start a conversation. So I don't bring any decisions tonight, but something just to be thinking about. So get with me if you have any insight into that. Base repairs on all the roads that are going to be chip sealed has been completed. So we're ready to go whenever they get over here to do that. They have done some prep work and culvert replacement will begin on Wayne's Way next week. So with that, we need to purchase some more culverts. They've taken some of the ones that were purchased for that over the years to use them on other projects. So I'd like a motion to purchase culverts for the Wayne's Way project not to exceed $2,500. Then give them one chunk.
I'd like to make a motion to purchase those culverts not to exceed $2,500. Second.
And then we had got some numbers on the postcard mailers to notify people of the email newsletter from Minuteman Press, and that was $1,600. So any discussion you want to have there, or get with me later?
We use Canva for ours. We're usually around maybe $800-900. Just another option possibly. And they do all of it. Like you can create it and they print it and the whole 9 yards.
Canva,
Canva, CANVA.
I've seen them online.
you said about 800?
For roughly.
For how big an area?
I'll put it probably. That's all of when we were trying to advertise just to come. That was, I think, a 5-10 mile radius
Okay.
from here plus land.
Gotcha.
So I think we sent out probably about 5,000 or so.
And that's all I had. Looking at that as well.
Thank you, Steve.
Yep.
Old business? Have none.
Okay, I got a vote Curtis got back with me from SC Construction about the fog seal and just Morgan Run Court, Morgan Run Drive, essentially Morgan Run subdivision, $19,127, which I think is a big time no. Awful lot of money. And I got a hold of Dominique at Barrett and tried to get a bid out of him, and he said it was too small of an area. And that they were in the area and they were the ones that was doing the tar and chip, they would price it, but they really don't have any interest in coming down here for 0.54 of a mile or whatever that totals.
We have somebody else that, you know, as far as Salem Township or the other townships that have things going on for the same, that we could pigtail on there.
Well, they're gonna be in Wayne Township first, starting July 22nd. And then they're gonna be in Washington, and then they're heading this way. But
Barrett?
no, the SC Construction is the one that got the bid through the county engineers. That's who's doing it for the township, or townships around here, and that was the price I got out of them. Which is probably what, Jenny, 15% of the total budget for the roads this year, roughly.
Yeah,
I would think 12, 13, somewhere around in there. So I think it's a big old no, truthfully. Ed?
Fine on you.
No way are we gonna spend $19,000 for to have something done half of a mile.
Yeah, I like to pigtail on somebody else. And then, so they're in this area already, they're doing multiple projects. I think that's the only way to go.
They are the ones that are, they are the contractor that got the bid for this year, and that was the price that they gave me. And so,
And they're still telling you no, because they're not gonna be this close.
no, SC Construction is the one that's gonna be in this area that gave us the 19,000. So then I went to try to get another bid from Dominique from Barrett, and he's the one that said like, they don't have any interest in coming down here for whatever the grand total is. I think it's over half of a mile.
What?
Yep, believe so. Got any old Jenny?
No.
New.
Went to the planning commission meeting last week. There's so many subdivisions going on in Warren County. I think another 7 new ones. I think last month was 5 new ones, so 7. That's 12 new ones in the last 2 months. A lot of them going on. That's all I have for news.
I don't have any new. Community comments?
Oop.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah,
Jenny.
stop you.
You did too, by golly. New business, Jenny.
We read the budget for the 2025, so I need a motion to submit the budget as read at the hearing to the Budget Commission.
Make a motion to submit the budget to the budget commission.
Second,
Thank you. All I got.
community comments. Mr. Zach.
Bridget, you want to talk?
I am. I want to talk because I missed the last one. I know you had mentioned at the last one that you wanted to go to the next farm club meeting to discuss the tractor show.
Yeah.
I would like to tag in with you, but they also moved it. So it's not on July 7th, it'll be on July 14th.
You need to remind me, because so I remember it the day before.
Okay. Because I think they had somebody who has a funeral or something, so they're moving it out of respect of them. But I just want to let you know it did move, and I want to join in to discuss all the things.
Calendar.
Well, July 14th, here.
Here?
Here. Mhm.
You know what time?
That I don't, I think it's 7, but I'll let you know for sure.
5:14 Farm Club meeting, 7 PM with Bridget.
That all?
I think so.
Anybody else? Any comments? Okay. I have a motion to pay the bills.
I was second that.
Correspondence.
Nothing.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I was second that.
I know it's yours.